everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about experience with the border control officers. You can agree with me that it's such a terrible thing to have gotten your visa, and then when you come into the country you're visiting, for whatever mistake at the border with the border control officer, you're sent back to your country. That's something that should not happen. But then it happens now and then, and that's why I want to talk about it, especially for new travelers and even old travelers, that sometimes we get so excited or we get careless with information and say things we shouldn't say or do things we should not do at the border. So that's why we're talking about it today. When you come into the country you're visiting, first, before you set out, please make sure you have all your visa application documents with you. Have them in a file and have it in your hand luggage, so that when you get to the border, whatever document they ask for, you're able to provide it. One of such could be your financial document. They can ask you, how much money are you coming with? And then you say something. If you say something ridiculous, very small, they may want to see your bank statement. And if you don't have your bank statement, they reserve a right to take a decision at that point, either to allow you into the country or send you back to your country. So it's very important that you have all the visa application documents that you use for the visa application. You have it with you when you're traveling. The second one is you need to have a return ticket, especially if you're visiting. If you're visiting a country, you need to have a return ticket that matches whatever information you had given the visa officer. So at the visa office, you had said, I'm going to visit Canada for 2 weeks. And then you bought a ticket that will make you stay in Canada for 3 months. You may be unfortunate, you may be lucky. The visa officer may not, the border control officer may not check it. But if you're unlucky and the border control officer checks that, you may be having a problem for yourself. It's very important that whatever information you give them during your visa application, that you stick to it. Don't get too excited, I've gotten my visa and therefore I forget. What I do is I make sure that I print every document that I use in my visa application and I have it so that I don't forget. Sometimes we forget innocently, but I try to have it so that I don't forget. It's just like you, during your visa application, they ask you, in some countries, they will ask you, have you been refused visa for this country? You say no or yes. If you have been refused visa and you say you have never been refused visa, trust me, you have just lied. Remember, they have every of your information in their system. So anything you say, there should be some consistency even through the border control, because the border control also has access to the information you have provided to the visa officer. The other thing is, you may say, I'm going for this conference. That's why you were given the visitor's visa. And probably you didn't go for the conference again. You came in and you said, I'm going to visit a friend. Now, someone could say, what if the conference has passed? That would be a different ball game. But if you're still within the conference time, please just remember that what gave you the visa is the conference. And for instance, they may ask you, where will you be staying when you enter the country? Remember, you provided address, so you don't have to change it. But if for any reason you decide to change it, make sure that you have evidence or you have good reason for why you're changing that address. For instance, you may have booked a hotel and then you later find out that there is a cheaper accommodation. So you cancel the previous one and booked a new one. You should have the evidence with you, so that if the visa officer decides to ask questions, you have a clear explanation. The other thing is that you need to be very patient with the visa of border control officers. Sometimes visitors are randomly picked for questioning or checks, further checks. And so assuming they decide to pick on you, is simply part of them doing their job. Now, don't get irritated, don't create a scene, don't just obey. Answer all the questions that need to be answered, but try to make sure that your answers are inconsistent with what you had provided during your visa application. The other thing is, make sure you're not having things that you're not supposed to have in your travel luggage. Things you cannot explain. You have a laptop you cannot put on, or a phone that you cannot switch on. That may become a trigger for questioning. Everything you have should be things that you will be able to open if you're asked questions about. Again, when you study the country you're going, you'll be able to know what is allowed, what is not allowed, and you should try to stick to what is allowed into the country. The other one is the amount of money you're coming with. Make sure you're sticking within the rule. The general rule is usually $10,000, not more than $10,000. If you have anything more than that, then you'll be declaring it. So there is no need to have so much amount of money as cash when you can have it on your credit card. So don't create room for the border control officers to begin to suspect you, because they reserve a right to take a decision about you and can decide to send you back to your country. Don't get too excited to provide information that are not necessary. Don't answer more than you are. Some people get too excited, they begin to tell them story about how they will go here, go. Who is asking you all that? Simple question. So try to stick to the information that are required. For instance, now we know that with visitor visa, you can come into Canada and if you get a job, you are able to switch it. But at this point, when you're coming into Canada, you don't have a job yet. So don't go into discussing the job you have not gotten. Remember, the visitor's visa is not for job. The only thing is that Canada has a new rule that could allow you, if you get a job inside Canada, you do. But at the time you're going through the border control, what you have is visitor's visa, and you should be able to stick to the reason why you were given the visa. I'm just hoping that we will not use our hands to spoil the good soup that we have cooked for ourselves. Just imagine after you have gone through the hurdle of getting a visa, then when you are at the promised land, you will not be able to enter. That won't be a portion. So let's stick to the rule of each of the visa you have applied, both at the visa application time and during the border control time. And you can be sure you will continue to enjoy the global space. Thank you for watching. Do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. You know, when you subscribe to my channel, it will help YouTube to push my video upward for more people to view and learn. This is a community, and we want to learn, how to thrive better in the global space.